Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Holly, and I hope everyone's having a great day. Today I'm sharing a recipe for my favorite Christmas cookies, which are anise cookies, and some people pronounce it anise, but I have always said anise, so that's just the way I pronounce it. This really doesn't have a lot of ingredients in it. The main thing is it takes more time, a waiting time, I guess you could say, for these cookies, but they are so worth it. And it is from this cookbook, the Los Isleños Canary Islanders cookbook. This is my heritage, part of it anyway, and the recipe is in here. And if you want, I will show you, and you can screenshot it to save it. And I love this cookbook because it has so many recipes that are from family and friends. So it's great to have all of those in this one book. But as you can see, you will have to beat this for 20 minutes. So it's good to have a stand mixer. And it's also going to need 3 hours for it to sit out before you bake it, and 20 minutes in the refrigerator before you actually put them on the cookie sheet. So that's where the time comes in for this. But you can also get this cookbook on Amazon if you wanted. It has some really good recipes, like gumbo recipes, things like that. Now, for this recipe, it's very, like I said, simple ingredients to use. And I'm using 3 cups of cake flour, and you will sift this one 3 times. And that's what the recipe calls for. And this is a good brand. I like to use that Swan's flour. And you will need 2 cups of sugar. And you will also need 5 egg whites. Now the anise extract is 1/4 teaspoon. The recipe calls for anise oil, but you can obviously use the anise extract. That's what I've been using for years. And I think it might have a milder taste to it than the oil. And the baking powder, you will need 1/2 teaspoon, a pinch of salt, and those sprinkles, which are nonpareils, to put on top of the cookies. And I'm going to use a sieve for sifting the flour. I find this works a lot easier than using the one that you have to use with your hands and to constantly sift it. But add the baking powder to the flour, and then you just want to kind of sift it through the holes. And it does go, even though I have this sped up, it does go rather quickly. And this is the end of the first round of sifting it. So I've sifted it once. Now we'll take another bowl and I will sift it for the second time. Now it's been sifted twice, and now we will go on to sifting it for the 3rd time. Now you will whisk for 20 minutes, but first add your eggs to the mixing bowl, and we will mix this up for just about 5 minutes or so. That's including the 20 minutes. So the first 5 minutes, I usually like to have this kind of fluff up some. And as you'll see, it will start to get to that consistency where it's a little bit thicker. I add a pinch, this is close to the 5 minutes, I add the pinch of salt. Then I add the 1/4 teaspoon of the anise extract. And it really does have a mild flavor, so I don't find it's overpowering with licorice. Then I will start adding the sugar. and I do add it just a little bit at a time. And you do not want the egg whites to have been already like to a very stiff consistency. You just wanted it a little stiff before adding those ingredients. Now when I have about 2 minutes left, that's when I will start adding the flour in. Now I do leave this much flour out, so when I go back to add the flour into this, I add exactly 3 cups. This is what's left over after adding exactly 3 cups. Once you scrape that off the top, you just have a little bit left, and I leave that out because it will make it too thick. So just add your flour in gradually, and like I said, the last 2 minutes of the 20 minutes that you have left, that's when I start adding the flour to it. And you're just mixing it in to incorporate it. You don't really want to over mix it too much, but you want to make sure that that flour is blended in to the egg whites and the sugar. So just, like I said, add exactly 3 cups of the flour back into this. As you mix in the flour, you will also have to stop and scrape the bowl down just a little bit because it does get thick. So just make sure you're scraping it down to make sure everything is fully incorporated, and then just continue to mix it in. And once that's done, the consistency should somewhat be like a pancake batter almost, just a little bit thicker. But that should be your consistency. Then you will cover this and put it in the refrigerator for 20 minutes. Now while that is in the refrigerator, just prepare your pans with some butter. I line it, like I said, with some foil, and just put some butter on the aluminum foil. And I like to use a baggie, and then I just put it back into the bag, and I keep that just for buttering things like this. But then you just take a spoon, and you can either drop it down and then it'll spread a little bit, but what I like to do first is I drop it and then I kind of form a circle to make a round cookie, and I do that for most of them. And then I will show you the last ones I do, I just drop it on there. But sometimes I like to have the cookie to be a little bit bigger, so I just try to spoon it out and shape it a little bit. And it does, once you have these onto the pan, then you will put your nonpareils on, because you want to put that on before the icing starts to harden up a little bit. And just put as much or as little as you like. We tend to like a lot of sprinkles. Now here I'm just showing you that I'm just dropping them down without forming them. So you can do this. It's a lot faster than the way I was doing it before. But sometimes, like I said, I like to have it formed more as a circle cookie. But sometimes when you drop it, it's not completely round, I guess. But you can definitely just drop them onto the foil. Now set a timer for 3 hours, and you will just let these sit out on a counter or on a table. And after 3 hours, you will then put these in the oven on 350, and you will bake them for anywhere between 10 and 12 minutes. And you don't want to let them brown. They will stay sort of a white consistency, so do not brown them. And this is what they look like while they're baking. You can kind of see how it separates a little bit, and it just forms its own icing, I guess you can say. It's not really icing, but it just looks like it. And it has that little foot on the bottom where it separates. These are really good cookies. but this is what they look like when they're baking. When you take them out of the oven, you want to let them sit on the cookie sheet for about 2 minutes to let them cool before you try to remove them. Otherwise, because they stick to the aluminum foil, but after about 2 minutes you can get them off. But it kind of has a little bit of a hard crust on top, and it's a very thin crust though. And as you can see, it's like a cake. It almost has a cakey, chewy texture to it. It's really a good cookie. It's different, it's unique, and you can kind of see the thinness on the top layer, even though it has that crunch. So it has like a crunch and a chewiness to it, and you can see how it forms that little bit of a thin coating on it, almost like icing. And this just brings me back to childhood, because this is one of those cookies I had when I was little, and I had always wanted these, and I had finally gotten that cookbook, and when I found the recipe, I was thrilled to be able to make these. Even though it's a little bit of effort, it's worth it. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're interested in seeing more videos like it, please click that subscribe button and the notification bell. That will notify you when I post new videos. I hope that everyone has a very blessed Christmas, and I thank y'all so much for watching. God bless y'all.